Welcome everybody to the Kreative's Way. I am your man, Bruce Briggz. Yo, we have an amazing guest today.
Yes, we do. He stay going viral, okay? For lack of better English that I know how to speak. He has an amazing show, a podcast called Dear Future Wifey.
Yes.
You should definitely go and check it out, but we're going to get into all of that, get into all of his business, see what's up with his mind, his creativity. Can y'all give a warm welcome wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, to the homie.
Laterras
The homie.
R. Whitfield.
What's happening?
What's up, man?
Man, let me tell y'all something, man. When y'all invited me to be on this, I was like, we finna have fun.
Oh, yes. That's what this is for.
Oh, yeah,
this is exactly what it's for. Now, now, what that R stand for?
What that R stand for?
It stands for Romeo.
Romeo is your...
Nah, I just made that up.
I was about to say that, because if it was Romeo, I'd be like, oh, my God.
Romeo with
Nah, my middle name is Rayvon. Rayvon.
Okay.
Laterras Rayvon. Okay.
Okay.
First time I ever said that publicly.
That's still...
Yeah. People normally don't ask that. People ain't normally knows it like that.
I love
as far as the R?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I asked you the first time. I said, now, look, he definitely... You can't just call him Laterras. You got to call him Laterras R. Whitfield. So when I would call him, he answer the phone, and I say, Laterras R.
Just leave it like that, Laterras R.
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Welcome. Thank
Proud
you
of what
for
y'all
coming.
building here.
Thank
it's gonna
you,
be something
man.
amazing. Creative way.
We're excited and definitely want to return the favor because we were blessed to be able to be in the beginning of Dear Future Wifey, man, and that was really, really dope. It definitely changes our lives.
Yeah.
I am yet getting the DMs.
Absolutely. Still.
The girls talking about, oh my God, y'all's episode was so great, and man, it really helped me overcome it. I'm just like, whoo.
Yeah.
The testimonies and the DMs, I'd be like, what did the Lord done brought y'all to these
Yeah, people have definitely.
So you talking about y'all were blessed. I was blessed for y'all to trust me with y'all story.
Yeah.
You know, it was a story that y'all kept private for such a long time. Y'all just popped up married and no one ever knew where this dude came from. It was like she got a mail order husband like a bug. Like what happened? Where this dude come from?
Not I ordered him from
You ordered him something. Found him on.
He
just showed up. I'm like, who's this dude?
Amazon.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
I was like, y'all just married. It's like, wow. Yeah, I was like, what happened?
That's really honestly how it popped off.
No, for sure.
But I like you said, we tried our very best to date and to love in private. I saw this on Instagram yesterday where, you know, the caption was date in private, love in private, marry in private, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, so I'm only doing so many things in private.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because a lot of my life is already out to sea. Why would I keep one of the biggest parts of my life to myself?
Yes.
And I feel like after us having the discussion on your show, why in the world would I ever be silent about how I'm experiencing love today?
And it's very encouraging to see that. You know what I'm saying? So watching Bruce love you, it's a beautiful thing to see from a black man loving a black woman on the level and the capacity that he loves you. So it encourages a lot of people.
It's really not a thing that we put on for anybody.
Anybody
that's around us can tell Bruce and I actually like each other.
100%.
And I think I want that to be one of the biggest banners of our relationship ever, is that we like each other and we're friends.
We're friends. Yeah.
That's like the biggest part of our relationship. So I was glad, and I actually didn't have any nerves about coming on your show, but that's because I know you and I had been knowing you. So I was just like, I feel like if we were going to talk about this with anybody, why not?
It was
Laterras.
powerful. Oh, it was so powerful.
It was a good, day.
That thing was powerful.
It was good. And so now we're going to get to, because a lot of people know you, of course, now from being viral and Dear Future Wifey, but we need to go back because you are also a playwright. You have an amazing production company. Yeah. And you've been doing that for years. And so I want to go back to just the beginning, as far as, you know, your origin, who you are, where you're from, how did you get into production and doing it to the level because, you know, you see a lot of podcasts and a lot of, you know, shows or things that are on YouTube that are, you know, cool.
Yeah.
But when you have it together and professional and, you know, it feels right. And so I just want to get to the beginning of that, of who Laterras R. Whitfield is. And
so we're going to go back. You say you want to go back?
Let's go back.
What got me into entertainment altogether?
Oh, yeah. Yes, all of that.
Tell us about teenage Laterras.
Teenage
what were
Laterras.
Teenage Laterras' interests?
Running around with pistols.
Okay.
Okay.
You
were a thug?
You was a thug? You was out here thugging?
Yeah, no.
Was you a thug when you was coming doing the poetry at church?
No, I wasn't a thug then, but it was like around the 16 through 18. I was kicked out of Skyline High School for taking the gun to school.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was a sophomore in high school.
Why did you take a gun to school, sir?
My brother was playing with the gun. It was a Smith & Wesson 38. He was playing in the mirror with the gun in the bathroom, shot the mirror out. And so he said, listen, if Dad find out about this, he's going to take the gun. So why don't you take it to school and sell it? And so I took it to school, and I had we was watching the movie.
Get in trouble.
Well, see, he thought I could be slick with it. So what happened was I was in the first period class. We were watching a film, and I had pulled it out of my jacket. You know them big old puff-looking starter jackets we used to have. So I pulled it out, showed my homeboy. He said he was gonna buy it the next day. And so I put it back. But I noticed the teacher had looked my way, and I had, stuffed it back in. I guess that drew a little suspicion, but he never acted on it that minute. By the end of the day, going into my 6th period class, youth action came into the classroom.
Wow.
And they showed up. They was like, is Laterras Whitfield here? And then I knew I correlated where the tip came from because he asked for they got the walkie-talkies, asked for the guy that was in the class with me. And they started checking his locker. He had left school early. And then I was like, yep. They got me. And then we went into the thing. They said, hey, can you take off your jacket? I said, I already know what y'all want. I pulled it out, laid it on the desk. They grabbed me, slammed me down on the desk. And, I don't know why they overreact. Oh, my God. I just pulled it out. I was like, here. Oh, my God. They going all crazy.
All they saw was you about to shoot up Skyline with a 38.
With a 38. Put me down on the desk, called the police. They came and escorted me out and then took me to like a holding tank. My dad came and got me. And then I was sent to alternative school. And that's what introduced me to theater.
Okay.
Because it was 50 kids. It was a pilot program called Lacey. The school's called Lacey off of South Beckley, the Learning Alternative Center for Expelled Youth. And so they had us there and they said, you know what, we're going to do this psychodrama. And psychodrama is what they use in prisons and penitentiaries to try to teach inmates about the offenses that they did by reverse, like they'll do role reversal. So it's like, now you're going to play the victim.
Okay.
And so they did a psychodrama with us and had us be our real selves. And like, this is what the stuff that y'all caused, talked about gang violence and all that. And we wrote it. The play became a published play. Eastfield College produced it one day after we actually graduated from the program. And that was what introduced me to theater.
Wow.
And I said, wow, the power of the written word and people's lives have been touched. We performed it at Grinders Black Box Theater. And Bank of America and DISD sponsored the program. And we did this amazing play. And I was like, wow, I could do something more with my life. And then I went back to my home school and then got in trouble again for getting caught with another gun.
Okay, let's
I thought the story was gonna go. You thought I was gonna learn from that.
Because I thought that I was on a journey. I thought that I was on a journey to redemption. A really, really good tweetable situation at the end. And then you flipped it and you said no.
Got worse.
Now, was you trying to sell another one or this one?
I was even trying to sell guns, bro.
But my brother had me selling it because he had shot the mirror out of the bathroom.
Again?
No, the second time I got caught with the gun because I was gonna rob somebody.
Deliverance.
Yeah, so we had caught the bus to Garland to go rob somebody for Christmas because I didn't have no money. We grew up poor, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna have a good Christmas this year. So
by robbing.
Yeah,
by robbing somebody else, I'm gonna have a good Christmas.
Yeah,
they gonna have a terrible Christmas. Their terrible is going. Their Christmas is going to be ugly.
But I wasn't gonna hurt them.
Mine is going to be beautiful.
No,
You just going to stick them up.
Take their money. But see, I'm a thug with I'm a thoughtful thug. So when we were trying to rob the people, I kept looking out like, nah, we can't do that, man. They look like they struggling. Nah, we was. Yeah, I'm a.
So how many people did you go through?
Probably about 6, and then I just changed my mind. I kept saying, man, look at, man, she got a baby. We can't go rob her. What that look like? Oh, man, look at him. He look like he barely holding on. And I would do that. We sat in front of that doggone convenience store in Garland, watching the buses keep going by because we took a bus there to go rob them. I don't know why we caught a bus to go rob somebody. Because at the end of the day, that didn't even make sense.
And the thing is, you said that you were trying to catch the bus from where to where?
From Pleasant Grove to Garland.
So you were on the bus 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. To go rob somebody and then stand on the bus like, all right, let's see when they're going to come and pick us up.
Right.
What kind of plan is that?
Oh, my God.
When did you finally decide to say, no, I'm going to actually do right?
Well, that day, it was a crackhead that came and was like, can you take us to go get some crack? I said, well, I can show you in my neighborhood. And we needed to ride home anyway because the buses had stopped running by then. So then we got in the car with him. We were going down I-30 and he was speeding. His speedometer didn't work. They stopped the police pulled up because he was speeding, ran his stuff. He had a warrant out for his arrest. They had him walking the line because they smelled alcohol in his breath. He was drunk. So they took him, handcuffed him. My homeboy had an outstanding warrant for an assault that he had from fighting in school. So they handcuffed him. When they was about to get ready to let me go, they began to search the car, found a gun underneath the seat.
This is the same gun?
Yeah, it was a Tech 9. No, I had a Tech 9 that time.
Oh, it's Tech 9,
They took the 38. I was out of here.
Got you.
So I had a Tech 9, a submachine gun. And so when the police was behind us, I stashed it up under the seat. They came and was like, oh, holy smoke, pulled the gun out. They charged me with UCW, which is an unlawful carrying of a weapon because it's within arm's reach. And went to Mesquite jail and spent the night there. And then my dad came and picked me up and was like, yeah, I'm not paying for nothing. See, my dad, I grew up old school. So if you got yourself in trouble, you paying for your way out. And so I was on probation and I was at my home school at W.W. Samuel High School. And that whole year, that senior year, I was on probation and had to, pay my fines and had 2 jobs and had a baby on the way.
No shade to Samuel, but it's sort of on brand. It's on brand for that side of town. I'm just saying, from what I know. Okay?
But what you know?
From what I know, it's a bit on brand.
It's very much on brand in that Greedy Grove. So that's what
my
it was.
God! Okay.
So you got through that.
Yeah.
And
you got through that.
Yeah. And did you get to a point to where you were saying, okay, like you said, all right, look, I done got caught too many times. This is what this is. I'm going to writing, or I'm going to were you writing the whole time because you were going with Lacey?
I went Lacey. I got out of Lacey at that time. I went because Lacey, I was there like the spring semester of my sophomore year. Okay. So then now I'm at W.W. Samuel. I'm there my junior and senior year. And when my girlfriend told me she was pregnant, and I was like, okay, I got to grow up. And so my daughter was born 2 weeks before I graduated high school. My daughter came to my high school graduation.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what made me say, I can't act like this no more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I went to, graduated in May, and then that following December the 22nd, I went to a club the night before, and I was in the club, everybody dancing, booty shaking and whatnot, at Lakeside. It was at Lakeside, over there by Bachman Lake. And that was the last time I was sitting up in there. So we was dancing and all that, and it just like the whole dance floor just started moving in slow motion. And I was like, wow. And I just started kind of just seeing spirits. Everything was just different. And I was like, you know what? I said, I don't think I belong here no more. And that morning, my friend had been asking me to come to church with him. And I said, you know what? I'm going to church with him. And that next morning, I went to church and then rededicated my life to Christ. Because I grew up in church, and I just had my little wayward way. And then me and my daughter walked down there together, had her in my arms. She was a baby, and gave my life to Christ, and haven't looked back since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so at this point, you have decided you're going to turn your life around. What is the next thing for you?
I started doing drama ministry. And I think that's when I ended up meeting you at the Potter's house.
Yeah.
But I was met my friend and I, the one that invited me to church. This guy, his name was Montre Bible.
Yes,
his last name
I
was
remember
Bible.
him. I remember him.
And so we started doing skits.
Yep,
So we would go around the youth detention centers, penitentiaries, and we would put on skits. And that's another little layer into theater, but now we had a faith-based perspective to it. And so I did that for a while, and then did that for a couple of years, all the way to about the age of 24, and that's when I wrote my first national stage play.
Wow. What was the name of the play?
The first play was called PMS, it's a man thing. It's called Power, Money, and Sex. And then we later rebranded it as What Men Don't Tell. And that show toured and made $20 million.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
That's what I believed when I basically first heard your name was
What Men Don't Tell.
What Men Don't Tell.
What Men Don't Tell. Toured across the country from Toronto, Canada to Buffalo, New York, all the way as low as Beaumont, Texas, and as far west as Bakersfield, California.
Yeah.
You know, we was everywhere. Yeah, we was
Because
everywhere.
when you said, your friend Laterras, and then we talked, I was like, I know that name.
Yeah, that show was
just
touring
being
across country.
in the theater, especially the urban theater, community.
Yeah.
I was like, that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah.
So what goes into since you were, to me before Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
I mean, because I didn't know nothing about Tyler Perry back in the day.
Right.
But what goes into getting a stage play together and then to tour it?
A lot of preparation and money. So before, I didn't have any idea about what it cost to put a show on. I just was following my passion. I funded my first show on my own. Got a couple.
You're going to say a lot of preparation and money.
All right.
Okay.
My boy popping tags out here.
What?
Boy came out like a little wedding.
Oh, take it off.
No, I took it.
What? I ain't know. I just grabbed it.
I just thought you was just balling like that.
No, this is my first day wearing this shirt, this jacket.
Yeah, he wanted to match his wifey.
Yeah, I heard that she was wearing that today. You know how women be doing. Time I put that on. I bought that for you for Christmas. So I finally put it on. Put it on. I don't want to get in trouble.
Let me put it on. I don't want to get in trouble.
Let me put it on.
You're going to put it on.
Just go put it on.
Oh, God.
I said, let me grab it.
You going to ask the question again.
A lot of preparation.
We'll elaborate right now.
There you go.
Okay.
What you're supposed to do when you get married.
You just gotta wear it.
You're supposed to match yourself.
You gotta wear it. They say it. This
just
what
do
you
it.
do.
The funniest did this. It came out of nowhere. It was just like, yeah, so what happened was,
And it jumped out.
That wig spirit still on
That
him.
wig-
It's
that
a
wig
spirit.
spirit.
It's Laterras.
It's
Laterras got the pull down spirit.
Before that,
We figured it out.
we figured it out.
We figured it out.
Laterras got the
problem.
Laterras got the pull out
He
spirit.
is the drama. It was never
I did have to pull out spirit though.
He got the stronghold spirit.
Not with a 2-week-old at graduation.
I know it, but
What, the pull out
after that,
inside?
I got that down
What,
lock.
I didn't even mean to pull out. I didn't mean pull out.
I know.
He got the stronghold spirit.
Did he
He
call
got the
that?
gravity.
She'll miss nothing.
2-week-old at graduation? No, you can't tell us nothing about pulling out, Doc. You don't know nothing about it.
She said 2-week-old at graduation.
Oh,
You don't know
man.
nothing.
What's baby girl's name?
Lateria.
Lateria showed up like,
Lateria. Pull out where? Stiff where?
Yeah, no, it wasn't none of that.
None of that. Here we go.
Woo, all
What did I
right.
say? What's the line?
I'm asking.
Oh, you said a lot of preparation. And
Yeah,
money.
what goes into touring?
Okay,
Cool.
We
Everybody
ready?
smile.
So fake. Somebody.
Help, Jesus.
Mhm.
Help.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going to look to the wide shot on this one. All right. And
So,
Why you start laughing?
Bruce is childish. I want y'all to know when I get into work mode, we need to be in work mode.
you got in so quick.
This nigga,
Yeah. You
he
got
got
in
to
so
catch.
quick.
He got to catch up with me. He
I'm
got-
sorry. My bad. I'm sorry.
It's the light skin.
No, it's Laterras. It's his undertones.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ready?
All right, last shot. 3, 2.
So what preparation goes into, I guess, figuring out a stage play? Because if people don't know you, how do you start a tour?
Man, when I tell you that's the hardest thing in the world, when I first wrote my first play, it was called PMS and Man Thing, Power, Money, and Sex. I was volunteering at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, and I would look on the wardrobe cases, and it had a phone number and the name of the production company. So I wrote the number down, and I started soliciting the production company, and I just called them and said, hey, I wrote this play, will you take a look at it? I called them for 6 months, like a couple of times a week, made friends with everybody in the office so that then they could advocate on my behalf.
Wow.
And so I became friends with them, and so the promoter would never answer the phone, and then finally they started saying, man, Laterras is on the phone. Why don't you get on the phone? Laterras, he real cool, he cool. Finally, he gets on the phone. He said, man, you got my attention. What you got? I said, I got the best play that you'll ever get the opportunity to. He said, I hear that from everybody. And he said, let me, have you videotaped it? And I said, yeah, I produced the show in Marshall, Texas. Funded myself. He said, why don't you send me the VHS? Back in the day, that was VHS.
Yeah,
Some people don't know about no VHS.
Yeah.
So he said, send me the VHS. And I said, it's on your desk right now. He looked, I said, it's in a gold sleeve. I put it in a gold sleeve so it could stand out against anybody else's stuff. So he looked at it, he said, I'm gonna watch it over the weekend. Call me back on Monday. Monday, I called him. He said, listen, I like what I see, but I like to see it in person. He said, can you put the play on again? I'll fly out and check it out. I said, I ain't got no money, sir. I said, so if you want,
let's
just be honest.
I ain't got no money. I ain't got
have the funds.
I ain't got no money. He said, all right, well, I'll tell you what. Find us a venue, make it real, real cheap. I just want, it ain't got to be nothing all fancy. I just want to see it in front of a live audience. Cool. I took it down to Waco at the Waco Hippodrome, put the show up. He came out there and I got me a little insurance. I had Al Wash come because I said, if he don't like it, then I'm gonna have Al Wash. So I had them both there and I had them, actually bidding against each other.
Wow.
So on the other guy's dime, by the way, because he didn't want to pay for it. So they're in the lobby and the dude, man,
He's a thug. He's a thug.
Low key scary. Okay. I mean, because it's a lot of trickery going on behind the scenes.
That's entertainment, though.
Man, I'm like, hey, because they gonna pimp me out. So we came out in the lobby and Al Wash walked up to Marvin. He walked up to me in front of Marvin and said, he don't know what to do with a show like this. Call me on Monday.
So much
It
like
is
Al.
Yeah.
so much
He said
like
he don't know what to do a show like this. Call me on Monday so we can make a deal. And then Marvin's like, hey Al, why don't we partner together and do a show? He's like, man, you don't spend enough money for me. And then walked off. And so I was like, wow. So I was like, good. So then that Monday,
Good.
I said, good. So on Monday, I said, we're gonna talk to Marvin Webster of Marvelous Entertainment. And I talked to him and said, hey, listen, let's do a deal. And we inked the deal together. And that was in 2002. And the show went on tour. The first week it toured for 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks it lost, according to him, I don't know if it's the truth, but it lost about $200,000. And so
it
lost $200,000.
Why did it lose?
Because it was the title. They blamed it on the title, and just when you normally don't want to launch a show in the fall because when you're going on the East Coast, you're going against the weather and all that type of stuff, and football season and all that. And so,
okay, thank you.
What you
She's
said?
Going on tour in the fall.
In the fall, it'd be cold in the mud. So then you want to launch a show at the very beginning in the spring so it can build legs, and then word of mouth can spread across the country, and they be like, oh, I'll go see that show. And so we did that, lost money, and he was like, hey, we need to rename the show. I was a little stubborn at first. I was like, that's the title God gave me. And after I sat home for about a whole season.
This is the PMS title.
Yeah, it was PMS.
Okay.
Because I named it PMS because Bishop T.D. Jakes had a sermon called PMS.
I was literally sitting here like, okay, do I remember Bishop preaching something called PMS?
He did PMS, and he and Deion Sanders wrote a book called PMS. So I named it PMS because I pitched it to Bishop T.D. Jakes to take it because he had did Manpower that year, and it was called PMS as a man thing. So I said, ooh, I'm going to go ahead and get it with them. So I pitched it to them, and then they sent it back, said they don't take any unsolicited scripts. And so I was like, oh, okay, well. All right, well, back to the drawing board. I thought God told me that Bishop T.J. was going to tour my show. I guess I heard him wrong. So
I heard him wrong. Wait, hold on. Okay,
Check
my bad.
connection.
My
Because
bad.
Sworn guy
Turn
told me
this
Bishop
Wi-Fi
TD
Let me turn it off.
Wi-Fi on in the office. See what the text do then. Maybe it wasn't delivered to the right.
It wasn't because
Okay.
I could have sworn Bishop was going to tour my show.
I'm so
And that didn't happen.
Okay.
And so Marvin Webster took the show out on the road and lost $200,000, renamed it What Men Don't Tell. The show went out and made $20 million. It toured for
I'm
2.5
sorry.
years.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, you missed that.
I know.
Yeah, say it again.
Wait.
$20 million.
What?
It toured across the country. Over 200-something thousand people saw it in that 2.5 years and made $20 million.
He lost. Now here's the thing. Lost 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Changed the name.
Made $20 million.
Made 20 million. And you said how many people? Over how many?
200,000. 200,000 people saw that show. And that's so what I did with the promoter, I did this. This is
Catch that.
This is where
That
wisdom comes in. I said, listen, because I used, my last job was at the Dallas Morning News. I made like $30,000. So I was like, whatever you're gonna pay me, gonna be more than $30,000. So I told the promoter, listen, pay me whatever you want to pay me, but just note you'll never pay me that again. And I said, but what I am gonna fight for is my name on everything. I want my name on the tickets. I want my name on the billboards. I want my name on every poster. I want my name mentioned 3 times in radio advertisements. I want my name in every TV spot. I want my name on every flyer. I want my name on everything. I said, you're gonna brand me across the world.
So, I have questions. Where did you get the sense from to know how to ask for that if you had only done skits?
I knew the power of a name.
Okay.
You know, you can watch like Love's Got to Do With It and they be talking about, I want my name back. You know what I'm saying? So I just knew that once somebody knew your name on a recognizable level, you can charge whatever you want to charge. The reason why we can say Tyler Perry is because he's branded his name across the world and then actually branded in different genres. So then no matter what it is, you put Tyler Perry's name on, it's gonna sell and make money. And so I said, and I knew that I was never money hungry. So I was like, hey, like I said, I grew up in the hood, so I can survive off of anything.
The Kreative's Way is sponsored by World Fidelity Life. They realize how important your family is to you and are determined to provide the best living benefits life insurance has to offer. World Fidelity Life. They make life insurance easy.
The Kreative's Way.
So I said, pay me whatever you want to pay me. And I did a commission-based fee structure where I got paid on scale. So if the show profited X amount of money, I got 1% all the way up to 4%. And what that looked like in real dollars, on a slow week, I would make about $3,000. And then on a good week, the biggest check I ever got was in New York, where it was like $24,000 in 1 week. So here I am at 24 years old I made $24,000 in New York, made $18,000 in Chicago at the Airy Crown when I toured that, and that was back to back. So over a period of 2 weeks, I made $40,000, more than what I made at my job working the whole year. And that was just the 2 weeks, and we did 2.5 years of that.
Laterras, I did not know that I was friends with Bank.
What you talking about? This is the viral emperor.
Big Bank.
That's Big Bang Harry.
But let me tell
Big
you
Bang
something.
Harry. That's Big Bang Harry. Okay.
That's what it was at 24, 25. But the thing about it is you can make so much money, but if you grew up poor, you're going to spend it all. And that's what I did. I spent every bit of it.
You got more guns? You got some more guns?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
No, I ain't getting no more guns. I stayed away from that.
I
I
was
got
about to
guns
say.
later on. I was so happy when I got my concealed handgun license. I said, oh, I'm worthy.
How many guns you got?
I got about 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, after being dirty for that time.
Yeah, I felt good.
So, okay.
You can search me in the criminal database. You're gonna see my picture. I kept that on there. I didn't want it to get expunged. I left it up there. I kept it up there.
You want people to go back and
Street
steal
cred.
mugshot.
Street cred. Yes.
I'm weak.
I got to have street cred.
So going to the name, because I know we joked about it, but of course there is your name, which is Laterras R. Whitfield. And when did you feel like the full name was like a staple? Because I know some people are like, there's a lot of actors that is, you know what I mean, that are that and say, okay, I want my middle name.
Yeah.
Like when did that become, was that a part of the whole name
at the very
thing for
beginning.
you?
Yeah, because I looked up to my mentor at that time. It was like a mentor from afar. Was David E. Talbert.
Okay. Yep.
And so David E. Talbert, that's what he has. So I
Yeah.
said, I'm Laterras R. Whitfield.
Got
you
it.
know, and so I was like, I looked up to them. And then one day when I was touring, the first couple of months of touring, he ended up calling me on the phone. He's Dirty South. How you doing, Dirty South?
Oh my
And he was like,
God.
man, black man, listen, I'm proud of you, black man. I was like, wow, this David E. Talbot done called me. You know what I'm saying? And then me and him became cool ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, but I knew the power of a name. And then after he started talking to me and I started telling him how I was moving, he was like, bro, you smart, you got it.
No, for real.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, okay, so if you did not go to school for like business.
Spent a day in college. I ain't spent an hour in college. Never even filled out an application to go. One time I went
That's
on
all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Oh
it was
my
all
gosh.
God because I did not know. I was just figuring out, but I could read. So when they sent me a contract, I'll read every word. I'll read every word. I'll be like, that don't sound right.
Wow.
Encumbrances. What's encumbrances? Let me Google what encumbrances. Oh, that means that I totally own it and nobody else I have legal ties to it. Okay, cool. Let me read the next thing. And I would read and I would go back with their attorneys with stuff.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, do you have an attorney speaking through you or whatever? And I'd be like, no.
No, I have the dictionary.
Yeah, I have a dictionary. It's a dictionary app.
Dictionary app. So how many plays did you do?
6. 6 national plays touring. I did a show with Casey and JoJo. I did a show with my first show, What Men Don't Tell, had Kenny Lattimore, Shantae Moore, Dottie Peoples, Little G from
Are you the
Silk.
reason why they got married?
They were with me the first week that when they got married. 4 months later, they were on tour with me. They were on
okay,
tour.
so they were married before they got to you. Okay, cool.
And went on tour with me.
Now, did your tour break them up?
No, my tour
I'm here to
tried to
get
keep
the
them
tea.
together. My tour kept them together as much
Hey,
as it could.
Kenny. How are you?
How are you
Hey,
today?
I
Shantae.
just, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to know if he had the tea.
No.
You don't.
They,
So, okay.
They kept them together. They were they were
Okay.
thriving on my tour. 'Cause
I
at the very
feel
beginning-
like such a terrible friend because I promise you I did not know that you had done 6 plays and
No.
definitely like nationwide
No.
stage plays ever.
It's like it's different. It's like there's different stages of your life that be like, oh, I did that, and then you mourn that moment, and then you come back.
Well,
with
did
another
you?
song.
I mean, was it a mournful moment?
When after it's over with, like it's so much pressure when you're doing that because now you're vibrating on such a high level that now you become a cash cow. And I would literally be like, the stress level was so high that even after the show, I would come back and I would always wear suits because I always wanted to dress older than what people so they could respect me. Because I was like 25 years old touring shows. So I would come back to my hotel room, suited and booted, and just pass out in 10 seconds. Just go to sleep, you know? And I was so stressed out. I would walk around with a never-ending headache because it was so much stress. They would always try to compare me. The promoters be like, well, Tyler Perry just did this. Your show only did this in this market. Why don't you do it? And I'd be like, what? I ain't no Tyler Perry.
Right.
And I had to get to the point in my life to where it was like, I'm not gonna compete with nobody else but me.
Right.
Correct.
You know, and that was the balance. But it came a time to where it began to be so stressful that I didn't even want to do it anymore.
Wow.
And I wanted to take a break. And then I got an involuntary break when Katrina and all that stuff happened. And, and then it was like the economy went bad or whatnot. And a promoter, the partner of the promoter told me, listen, I'm not gonna take the show back out unless you stop doing altar calls. Because I would do altar calls at the end of my plays. And I said, well, I made God a promise if he took me on tour, I would never deny him like that. And they was like, well, I don't subscribe to that.
Talk about, well, then we're going to deny you.
Yeah, we're going to deny you. Amen.
Wow.
And so I said, and that was during Katrina. I had a family I picked up from Reunion Arena, and it was a family of 4, and I brought them to my 1-bedroom condo, and they stayed with me until they got on their feet. But then I got a call from the promoter giving me an ultimatum, and I was like, wow, this is jacked up, God. You know, and I declined it, and the attorney called me and said, Laterras, have you lost your mind? You know how much money you make when you tour? I said, absolutely. And it was like, but why can't you just kind of just tell people if they want to, you know, accept Christ and meet you in the lobby somewhere or whatever? I said, that's not the vision. I can't do it. And then they were like, well, he just, because he's a Jewish guy, he said he don't believe in all that. And I said, well, I understand. What happened was the black promoter believed in that, so he was cool, but then they were at odds and they did a split.
Yeah.
So then the Jewish guy was like, I'll take you out on my own, because he had lots of money. Yeah, he had lots of money. He said, I'll take you out but you can't do that. He said, because I know that that's limiting you on becoming the level that Tyler Perry is. He said, you're
Do you
a
think
great
that that's
writer.
what it was?
Nah. I think that it's seasons. I believe that when you go through certain stuff in your life, God allows you to experience whatever that is until whatever that next level is.
Yeah.
Because if that would have been, God is never going to say, lift me up, but it's going to cause destruction to you, but I really want you to deny me so that you can be exalted.
Yeah.
Like it just don't work that way. And that's why, Dear Future Wifey is so important, because all of those stories, all that stuff, now I have control over my destiny where I'm doing whatever I want to the way I want to do it.
Right.
But it's because it's been tried and true, listening to other people that had the bag that tried to control me. But even in that standpoint, when I walked away from that deal, I was on my rooftop. I lived downtown at the time, and this guy ended up investing in the show and said, hey, what do you need to take your show back out? And ended up putting up $727,000 to take the show out on the road. And at that time, I was doing the show on my own and took the show out and lost $176,000.
Why did you lose 100? I have questions.
Yeah. I lost $176,000 because in certain markets, see what, and the author used to say this all the time. One of our markets was Houston.
Yeah.
And Tyler had a show, and this is so funny. This is how the world of touring goes. Tyler Perry had a show coming in April.
Yep.
I had a show in February. Typically, Tyler wouldn't need to advertise until 45 days before a show, maybe at the top of March. So it's not infringing upon my ticket sales. What Arthur Primus used to do, which was Tyler's promoter, because he didn't like my promoter, he said, I'm gonna hurt their show. So while I'm in the market, drop. Tyler Perry tickets don't sell. So what happens is that because Tyler Perry shows would always sell out, people be like, I'm gonna go to the Laterras show tomorrow or buy this ticket for Medea coming. I'm gonna buy this ticket for Medea. And so what happens is when you open the show up, we would do a week in the market, open up on a Tuesday through Sunday. Then they look at it as wrapping. Wrapping means you open up whatever ticket sales have come into the box office before you open it. That's just people buying on faith. Yep. Then the show opens up on a Tuesday. Everybody, word gets out, man, that show good. The artist actually showed up, all this type of stuff. They like, oh, we got to go see it. Then it's called wrapping when people start buying tickets afterwards. Well, what that did was when Tyler announced, when Arthur dropped the commercial and said, Medea's coming to town, boom, wrapping just stopped. Wow. So when that happens, then where you could actually walk away out of Houston with a $400,000 payday, you walk away with $186,000, which is what happened in that market. And now that $123,000 or whatever that you thought you was gonna get, that you typically would have gotten, you don't get. So you do a couple of those, you're at a loss. Because once that money is gone, it's gone. And those are major markets. Yeah. And so you can't make it up by some of these smaller markets like the Mobile, Alabama, and that type of stuff. You're gonna make a $30,000, $40,000 payday, but that's just getting you to the next city.
Absolutely.
Them big cities are the big paydays. So that happened. But I got a word of encouragement from Arthur when I talked to him about that after the tour ended. I said, man, why you do me like that? He said, man, listen. He said, how much did you lose? I said, I lost $100 and I think it was $6,000, $7,000. He's like, you did good. So you mean I did good? He said, you only lost $167,000 taking the show out on your own by yourself as the promoter. He said, man, I lost $1.5 million doing the show by myself. You know, he does shows all the time by himself. He lost, while he was doing Tyler, he did another show he was experimenting on, lost $1.5 million. And he was like, welcome to the business.
Wow.
He said, when I have Tyler on the road, I'm coming through like a 600-pound gorilla. He said, I'm tearing everything down around. And that's what happened. When Tyler was touring, you'd be happy to get crumbs off the master's table because he was making $1.5 million a week, all the way up to $3 million a week.
Yeah.
That is insane to even think about just off of
plays.
A play.
Yeah. But
Tyler's
that's
stupid money.
And when you get to that, you have Tyler, you have Laterras, you have Jakaris Johnson, you have David T. Albert, David E. Talbot, like you have these people that are doing those things, and you look at it as like we're saying, you're doing like a Tyler Perry, oh my gosh, but then you look at the people who are under that too, that are still doing what they're doing, and that's the thing I think. When you get to the point, the dope thing about all of this is, even though you quote unquote might be doing some of the same things, is that you never stopped for real doing it, even though you did lose or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. It was like, you know what? Nah, this is something that it's something that God put in me, and it's something that I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep, doing it.
Yeah.
And even though there's a person that kind of sets you up in a way, they can still let you come back and say, hey, I know that this is what happened or this is what I did, whatever. But this is, and that's what it is. And a lot of people,
like, wow, okay.
a lot of people, get to that. So then you're doing these plays, and now when does the production company come in? When do you have the mindset of, I want to do Dear Future Wifey? I want to do, because I know that there's a long period of time there, because of course you have been doing production, you know what I mean, the style that you've been going viral for years. Okay, you got the adoption of your son and the kids and like all that kind of stuff. But like, when as yourself you say, you know what, I'm gonna bet on me again, and I'm just going to do one of the
pandemic. The pandemic came in 2020, April the 15th, and I was producing projects and I was working on a podcast for a school district here, and everything stopped. And I just signed the contract, everything stopped, and we didn't know what was going on. I did a lot of business with school districts, and all the business stopped. And I was sitting in my office one day, I was like, I got these bills and I have 0 clients right now.
Wow.
And God said, now it's time to make you your client. I said, make me my client. He said, make you your client. You're always going around building other people's dreams and bringing the creative side to their ideas. Do it for yourself. He said, you always make excuses that you don't have enough time. Now you got time.
You got time.
You got all the time in the world. So he said, so you've been talking about doing a podcast, do it. And I was like, man, I don't like really talking. Like I don't like talking to myself. Like I don't like literally sitting on the camera and talking. I like talking with people.
Agreed.
And so with the pandemic, it was like, well, how am I gonna get people to come in my studio in the middle of dang COVID? So the first couple of episodes I did by myself, talking to the camera. I was nervous as all get out. I was like, I don't want to do that. God said, just edit what you don't like out. I said, oh yeah, I forgot. I can edit. Like this ain't live, this is edit. So I fumbled my way through the interview, edit out, and I'm a perfectionist by nature. And God was healing me from that, saying it's not gonna be perfect when you start off, just start. Yeah. And so I started, did it, edited it out. Then I started bringing guests on such as yourself. Y'all one of the first people that I brought in person. Brought y'all in, did the episode. I said, I like the energy when you talk to somebody, boom. And I just kept being consistent. And what YouTube is like the Lord. YouTube rewards consistency like God does. Yeah. So as long as you keep on doing something, you're gonna get better and better. YouTube, what they do is they start recommending you to people. Yeah. And then I went from like a couple of hundred, I had like 200 or 300 subscribers from April the 15th when August the 1st hit, I had 950 subscribers. Now on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours to get monetized. And so I was like, boom, I need 50 more subscribers and hopefully these 4,000 watch hours, I may have had probably half that at that time. And did an interview. Me and Jay Barnett got on there. We got to talking about some brotherhood stuff. The doggone thing took off. By the end of August, I hit 10,000 subscribers just in that month and got monetized. My first check from YouTube was $34. I said, I'm monetized, I got $34.
There he is.
Yes, I got $34. I'm winning in this thing. I got $34. My hard work done paid off. 4 videos for $34. $34. I said, despise ye not the day of small beginnings. I'm gonna thank God for the $34. And then the next month was September, and I ended up getting like $4,600. It jumped up, and I was like, oh, Jesus, I like that. I like that.
All right.
This is worth it. And so consistently, it was like $4,000 all up until the last couple of months, and I'm very transparent. The month of August, the month of July was $8,500. The month of August was $15,600, and the month of September was $21,600.
What exactly is happening? Like what is going on?
The viral emperor is giving y'all the game. He is letting y'all know what it is. Be creative
and consistent
and put it up. Now,
the
thing.
That's consistency.
Yes.
And this is the thing, because we're talking about creatives.
Yes.
Just all things.
And that's why I've been transparent, letting them know numbers, because at the end of the day, people always be secretive about this stuff. And when I was trying to do this, I was like, how much y'all making on that? You know, I mean, you can make a list. How much you making? Shoot, is this worth it for me over here doing this? Jesus, I'm out here spending the night in my office all night.
That's the thing when after we met, we did the interview and stuff like that, I would call it, man, I think we talked probably almost every week. Yeah. Like just
on ideas about what
just
you
on
on
ideas and what I was doing and what I wanted to do and building a pandemic. And you know, we had talked about a podcast, and I was like, okay, and I got stuff, and I was calling him, and I was like, man, I don't know. I don't want to do it like this. I don't want to do it like that. And how can I? And so the conversations, thank you, by the way, but the conversations that get you into the position of just saying, okay, you know, like, all right, how can this work? I know that it might be a little ugly, you know what I'm saying, right now, but
starts off a little
you know, like how do you, and like you said, the perfection, what I learned to understand is that we care a lot about what we want to put out, because like you're saying, to do it for other people's approval, and sometimes that can be the case. A lot of times that can be the case, and what I learned was perfection is not real. No. You'll never be able to be perfect. Even if you do the best that you can, you do it the best that you can. When you go back and you look at it, or you listen to it, or you see, you're still gonna I should have did.
100%. I look back at some of my earlier episodes, I be like, wow, I thought that was good back then. This. Like, just think about it. My set started off when y'all did it. It was a table and like a T, facing each other like that. People kept saying, I'm tired of looking at the side of people's face. I'm like, this is the best I can do, doggone it.
Got me $34.
Yeah, I got me $34. Y'all gonna see these sides of these faces. I ain't over here doing nothing in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
Got
a lot to say. But
and then, I ain't did nothing. They ain't holding the camera, doing nothing. Right. So then I said, one day I looked, I said, what can I do? I got this stuff. I said, I ain't got no money to be buying no doggone furniture. I said, move the tables out, because I had those tables in there as a conference room. I'm just me in the whole studio. I'm gonna have a conference with myself. So I moved the tables to another room, and I said, let me take one of these couches out of the other room, put it here. Let me take one of the chairs out of my lobby, put it here. Start moving stuff around. I said, this is gonna be a set. And I use a table when I write letters. And I said, now everybody's saying, when can I come on the yellow couch? When can I get to the yellow couch? Now the yellow couch became this own thing. And I was like, wow, but giving myself the room and the space and grace to grow. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do, is like, just start. Don't. It's hard enough to just start the process. Start the process. It can evolve into whatever you want it to evolve into, and you're going to learn it while you're on the journey. You know, I love in the Bible where it says, as they went, they were healed. And so at the end of the day, that as we begin to continue doing the work, it gets better and better and better. More opportunities come. We learn a little something from somebody else. We take a little nugget there, apply it to our stuff, and just keep on evolving.
So what made you decide that your podcast subject matter was going to be about something that you were not experiencing at the time?
I was hurt. I was broken. I had gotten to this toxic situationship with this chick that almost destroyed me. And I was in love with this girl. This girl, boy, when I tell you, she's a savage. I'm writing a whole movie about it. It was the worst. It's a whole movie. It's a whole movie.
Let me hop on in there. Let me get some producer credit, okay? Just say it right there on the camera. Let them know. I'm gonna get on that. So I get my 2%. I need my $34. Do you hear me, sir? Do you hear me?
My stuff done.
She like her hair done, her real hair done. She get it pinned down.
Sliding off.
No, son.
Here.
He said,
okay, the tracks are secure.
But that started off, I was writing a movie, and the movie was about a guy who had a podcast. And then I was like, man, I would hit right. So the reason why I had him with a podcast is because I was watching the TV show God Friended Me. And it's about this atheist guy who had a podcast. So I was like, that'd be dope to have him have a podcast. But I knew nothing about a podcast, so I stopped writing it. And then I forgot all about the movie, and then went on about life the following year. And then I started doing the podcast. In the April of 2020, October came around, and I was driving down the street, and God said, remember when you said you didn't know nothing about having a podcast? I said, yeah. He said, now look. I said, oh, this is art imitating life and life imitating art at the same time. He was like, yeah. I was like, well, you sure be doing what you're doing. Because I didn't even connect the two. I didn't even go back to write it because I put it out of mind. And so now I'm gonna go back and revisit it and finish that script. But now it's literally, the podcast has opened up doors for whatever I want to do now. Like I want to do TV shows, I want to do whatever. It's just opened up the doors. And that's what I mean by God. He didn't give me all the instructions at the very beginning. He just told me healing from the world. And so I said, God, that's uncomfortable to be telling people about my business. I'm talking about how I cheated on my wife back in the day. Like, why do people need to know this? This is just too much. God said, healing from the world. And I did that, and people's marriages have been restored. People are believing in love again and all that. And that's what I mean. That's what, that's the essence of your pain now has purpose. And that's the Dear Future Wifey podcast. That's how it came to be.
So with you putting your life out, especially like your heart, your love life, lack of love life, whatever. Do you ever?
I mean, that was a little offensive. Because I was a little offended when she said lack thereof. But I ain't gonna just go out off on your wife like that. But she shot a slug.
Oh, you can?
She shot a slug. You felt it? No, you felt that, didn't you? It wasn't just me. Yeah.
He literally. When you said lack thereof. He sound like Loki. He's wait a minute now. I'm going viral. I got all these women. all the women's.
This man ain't got no wife.
Yeah, he do now.
I do. She over there.
So, no, this is the thing, because you putting yourself out there, your whole situation out there, you're opening yourself up for people to be very negative
100%.
About what it is. How do you handle that?
Yeah.
See, God.
How do you handle the comments? Because the people be in the comments really trying to go there, and I'm like, oh my God, if I type this out, you're losing today. Okay? Stay off of me and mine, though. Get out these comments on this episode because, girl, don't play with me.
So what happened was, on my podcast, on my channel, they're pretty kind. Yeah. But I did an episode with this girl named Brittany Lee. She has about 700,000 subscribers. Okay. And she's out of London. And she came into town. She did my podcast. I shot an episode for her YouTube channel. But I don't really know nothing about her channel. I just knew she just have a big following. Her following are women who are really, really man haters.
Wow.
I'll say that. Okay. And so if they see any flaw in the man, see, that's what he's this, he's a narcissist.
Why did she come on your show?
She came on mine because she's a strong Christian woman, and she was talking about so what made me bring her on is because she was talking about how she had been abstinent for like 7 years and then fell off or whatnot. Okay. And I had took a vow of abstinence in 2020 and I had fell off. And so I was laying in the bed one day and
you fell off?
Yes, I fell off. God damn, y'all judge me.
We was upholding you. We was upholding you because when you told us that, I said, oh, okay, he out here. He doing it. More power to him.
Y'all gonna let that slide.
You ain't called. You ain't said nothing. You ain't said, hey, bro.
The time is up. We did not know what is happening. Okay, so the vow of abstinence is over. Or
it started back again. It started back again. It started back again. Yeah, just restarted. Are we supposed to do? I'm 44 years old. You know how hard it is to stay out of somebody's vagina.
What is happening?
Y'all over asking questions. Y'all don't ask me no questions. Y'all talking to Mr. Lit.
This is what it is, y'all. This is what it is.
44 years old.
Do you hear me? This is what this is. Let's go.
I'm like, I'm 44 years old. What I look like sitting up here talking about?
Laterras, I'm going to go ahead on and be honest with you. Yeah. When you said that that's what you want to do, I was just like, it's easier to be abstinent than to just date and find a wife. Because why are you doing yourself like that? We in a pandemic. People is in these houses by themselves. I mean, marriages is falling apart.
100%.
I don't understand how they doing it because me and Bruce had us a good time in the pandemic. I'm talking about lit, child. We over there going in.
Do you hear me? Do you hear this? This is what?
Mad.
Do you hear me?
Kids was mad.
Kids and dogs. Turn your TVs up. Put your headphones on, okay?
You said the dog barking.
Dog barking.
We having us a time.
Because it is what it is. Marriage is amazing.
Last night.
Marriage is amazing.
Okay, so the abstinence is restarted.
Kickstart
Just
again.
press-
And so,
Press the button.
Put me in red. Push the button.
So what happened was Brady had talked about her thing,
Okay.
and I was laying in the bed, feeling a little convicted, and then her video popped up on YouTube, and I said, oh, I need to have her come on, because she did 8 years. I did about 6 months. You know, I was like, that's all I could take. You know, I got to take this
I'm
break.
tired of being in the trenches.
I was. It was messing me up. I was like, this ain't normal.
Six months is a long time, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's a long time.
You're literally going against. You're going against the the anatomy of your body. At the end of the day, abstinence wasn't meant for grown men. It was meant for kids.
It wasn't meant for a grown woman.
Yeah, at all.
Once a bump show up, hey,
I need you to get this cleared up.
Hurry up. Let's go.
So what happened is abstinence was literally designed for teenagers before they got married. If you look back in the day, people got married real young. Joseph and Mary was like, they say it's about 14 years old or whatnot.
Yeah.
So you were getting married young. I had been married before. My body got acclimated to a certain thing, and then you just shut it off, you know. And then you say be abstinent until you get married again.
Or
it just
die to the flesh.
Die to the flesh.
Yeah.
I almost it's just too much. So that's what happened. So that's what brought her on the podcast, because I was like, you know what? I need her to come on the podcast to talk about this. She came on the podcast. We kept it lit. We talked about all that, and then I did an episode with her. She said, hey, let's talk about your infidelity. She made the whole episode about me cheating in my past marriage. And I was like, oh,
so she flipped it on you.
Yeah, she did the whole.
Set you up.
Set me straight up. And I was just like, okay, so the whole episode was that. So we talked about that on her channel, and I've never gone deep into it. All I talk about is like, I cheated on my wife multiple times. I did this, whatever. We in a great relationship, blah, 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 blah. She said, so what made you cheat? And how many times you cheat? And how long into the marriage did you cheat? She start asking all these questions.
Girl, you did not have to go there. There was no need for all of it.
When I say
700 something thousand.
When I say them women ate
I know they did.
up, boy,
I know
they ate me up. But what's so good about it is because I've been through therapy and I've actually been healed from people's opinion, I was able to look at those comments and not be affected at all. And then those people that were commenting or whatever, commenting about my past. See, if I was still my past, that would hurt me.
Yeah.
But because you're talking about the past, I'd be like, I hate that nigga too. You know what I'm saying? That dude there was a cheater. He's a liar.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, that's what it is. So I could stand 10 toes down in my past and be like, yeah, that used to be me.
Now that I can agree with, because I think for when we did your show, we didn't get a bunch of crazy comments, but the comments that we did get that were crazy, I literally sat there one night and was just like, if I did not actually love this man, I would probably understand why you were saying whatever.
Yes.
But at this point, there is nothing that y'all can make me ever believe
100%.
that I did what was wrong in how this transition worked and how we, you know what I'm saying, how we ended up getting here.
Especially
so
especially in a place where you feel like your relationship with God got you on that.
Yes.
So he'll talk to you and he'll deal with you 100%. And all that kind of stuff. Is because the thing that's the thing I think where you're talking about people dating and you know being in private and all that kind of stuff and keeping people out your business, all this stuff is basically just for you to be able to get to the space to where when you have to deal with that.
Yes.
Now it's saying, nah, we solid.
Yeah.
And we know our story. We know what this is. You knew what your story was and all of that. So you don't know the context. You also don't know the chastising that I've gone through with the Lord.
100%.
You don't know, what he's redeemed me from, our personal conversations.
Yes.
So all of that deals in one space. You know what I mean? Like it's not for it's not the whole picture. And a lot of people, there's definitely things that we give about our relationship that we haven't said and that won't say because you won't, and that doesn't mean that everything has been bad.
Yeah.
No.
That just means that
exactly
we're gonna hold some stuff until it's time for us to be able to release the save.
It definitely won't be a free for all the time. You give some, you hold some back, and then the next season you give some, you hold some back. So you're always keeping. The goal for us has always been to keep something to ourselves.
Correct.
We're going to keep something to ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think when you live a public life, and creatives a lot of times just live a public life.
Yeah.
So having to navigate negative comments, but then trying to figure out what your next step is going to be, and making sure that none of this right here, none of this dirt and debris and all of that affect the move forward, the journey on. What's the next thing? What's the next big thing that you have planned?
And talks about, well, I'm about to go into some development for some reality shows, and I'm a build. So
you about to be on a reality show?
I'm not gonna be on one.
Okay,
I'm gonna create. I am gonna be on one. I'm gonna be a host of one, but
Okay.
I'm gonna create something pretty dope.
Is it going to be centered around love?
Yes, everything I do is around love. I've been building a whole brand. I started looking at stuff, and I was like, this is a brand. I went and spoke at this event, and for Fox Soul, and I was the relationship expert. I hate being coined that because I want to say this on there, but I said I don't want anyone putting that label on me. The only person that can put that label on me is my wife. After being loved properly and faithfully for several years, then she can say he's a relationship expert.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I'm a single man trying to figure it out.
So in this space, because let's just be clear when it comes to creatives and when it comes to how we deal. I know for myself, one of the things that I was praying for was I wanted to be with who I was going to be with before things really kind of started getting, to a space, because to build with, because I know me, and not in the sense of I'm gonna be out here for the streets and nothing like that. But the thing is that I wanted to be solid, and I wanted to be able to share that, and to be able to go back and forth and say, is this a good idea? Is this not a good idea? Does this work for us? How do you, now that star, that light is growing in that space, how are you dealing in the singleness to a certain degree of it because I know that can be lonely, or it can, you know what I mean? You can have the desire, like how
you hit the word, which is lonely. There's times where I sit back and be like, I wish I had my wife with me to experience this with. Like even like a video that video that went viral, over 55 million views. I was like, I wish. Yeah, she ain't here. Yeah. So I just talk to my female friends and we trip out and talk about it, whatever. But and one of the biggest things that make me really wanna my wife with me is the project I'm building for the boys' home.
Yes, I was gonna get to that for sure.
Right there, knowing that what I'm gonna have on that land, my home on that land, the boys' home, I'm building legacy on that land. Yeah. That's what when I'm on that land, I'll sit there and I'm driving my tractor around, cutting the grass, and I'll be like, dang, And then I just start talking to her. I'll be like, I'm building this for you. Yeah. So it's like I'll quickly snap out of it and say, I'm preparing a place for her. Yeah. But in the winter nights, like when the winter come around, when I tell you it's talking to God and be like, hey, for real, I'll be like, Jesus, you can only hold me so long.
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Might have to pause that press that button. Hold on. And hold on. Okay. Woo, I'm back. All right, we're good.
But it's like, so the winter months really, and I'm really trying to be intentional about being disciplined this winter, because I want to successfully pass these seasons so that I could qualify myself for my future wife. Yeah. Because God told me that I'll never be faithful to my wife unless I first become faithful to him. Yeah. So I can't keep stumbling over the same stumbling block over again, thinking my wife is going to cure that when she comes in my life. I have to start living a disciplined life so that I can be disciplined when I meet her. Because there's going to be times where, we may be married and, we're married at this point, and she may not want to have sex that day because of whatever's going on. And I don't want to be some fiend that be like, oh, so you can't give me nothing. And I'm acting out like an immature little kid. Yeah. But I'll be like, okay, baby, that's good. Yeah. We'll make up for it next week, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's just cool.
Next day, actually. Matter of fact.
Share your testimony, bro.
No. Nope. No. Yeah, no. Okay, all right, cool. Tomorrow, we good. Ain't no next week. Ain't no next week. What are we talking about?
No, you had yesterday.
We good.
Turn up.
Twice. Be honest. Be honest. You got to be honest and communicate.
Bruce believes in setting an expectation.
You do. You got to talk. That's the thing. And that's the thing that would you do at the foundation of you being friends, because then at that point, now you're not you're not offended or you're not, anything when that comes around, it's like, no. This is what we do as friends. We have the conversation. Don't get offended. This is what this is supposed to be.
100%.
You know what I mean? And they like that.
Yes.
How much land is gonna be out here while you trying to put your wife in a home, and then the boys' home gonna be over there? Because we don't want the boys to be hearing y'all.
It's 20 acres.
Oh, honey, go for it.
Yeah. What you talking about? We're talking about the emperor.
Y'all get over here on the east
We're
wing.
talking about the viral emperor. This is
So
what
what
it is.
So as soon as you pull into the gates, it's gonna be
Not the gate.
Yeah, it's a gate.
It's gonna be gates put up over there. It's gonna be a $5 million mansion for the
Laterras,
boys.
you are
and then
grand.
you go up the hill all the way to the top.
Oh,
and
you're
it'll be our
grand.
house. Yeah,
You're grand.
It's what
You
I've been
are
believing on.
grand, thoughtful
Let me tell you what happened. Yeah, I'm a thoughtful thug. So last December, I went and camped out on that land, and I said, because I kept saying I dream a lot. So I went and found this land, and I said, God, I want this. And then I said, God, if you want me to have it, give it to me. And I pulled it up on the MLS. It was $1.8 million. And I was like, oh, Jesus, Lord, Jesus. So I was like, God, you on the cattle 1,000 hills? I need you to do what you do best. So then I was talking to the city of Cedar Hill, and they was like, one of my friends worked there, and they said, yeah, sometimes they have it as he said, they got it as an Airbnb where you can go camp out there in tents. So I said, I'm gonna go camp out there, and I'm gonna walk across that land, and I'm gonna start praying and doing all this stuff. So this was just last December. Went there, started walking around it, but I had typed up a letter, put in a little tin can, dug a hole in it, and the letter was speaking to the foster boys saying, this is gonna be the land we have. God, I want you to give it to me within a year. I buried it in the ground. Didn't realize that the day I had camped out there was December the 22nd. Remember I said earlier that that's the day I rededicated my life to Christ. And so I was sitting in the tent one day with my boys or whatever, my sons, and I said, today is December the 22nd. I said, Dad, I gave my life to Christ. I said, why I'm sitting out here? It was cold in the mug too.
I was just about to say, you in December?
It got real cold that day. So I was like, shoot, it's cold. I said, but I'm going to sacrifice for these kids. I'm going to sit out here. They do so much stuff. You got to make everything spiritual.
Underground Railroad voice. Why?
You got to get in that slave voice. I will sacrifice for these kids. They've been through so much. And so I'm sitting out here, and then I said, you know what? Let me walk. So the next morning I got up, I started walking. I ran into this guy that was on the land. He had his little motor home there, and we began to talk. Lo and behold, he owned the land. And but I never told him that I was looking at getting the land. I said, I may have a friend that may be interested. January the 1st, he called me because he saw me with my camera. I was videotaping. He said, man, I really want to see what you were videotaping. And I said, I can't show him that. I dug a hole on this ground. I can't show him that. I said, I can't show him that. So I showed him the video for Kingdom Royale, the promo video. He said, is this what you're trying to do? I said, well, that's, yes. And he said, he had DM'd me on the Airbnb app. And then he said, can I call you? And I said, sure. So he called me. I was on my way to San Antonio, shoot a friend's wedding. And so I had plenty of time while I was driving. We had this long conversation about, getting this land. And then he said, I'm gonna call you on Monday and we're gonna see what we can do. He called me on Monday. He said, do you want this land? I said, yeah. He said, I will owner finance it to you. And then I said, okay. I said, all right, cool. So I'm over here talking like I got a bunch of money. I said, all right, cool. He said, so if I sell it to you at 1.8, how much could you put down? I said, 100,000. I ain't had no $100,000. I said, $100,000. He said, all right. And then he said, so monthly, what do you want to pay? I said, 10,000. He said, all right, cool. We got a deal. He said, when you want to do a transaction? I said, I got to come up with 100,000.
Your faith is pissing me off.
Let's go.
So listen.
Go.
So this is what happened. So this lady, Terry Ijeoma, who's filthy rich, the stock market. She had been watching my podcast. She hit me up a month prior, said she wanted to come on the podcast. And so that following week, she was coming on the podcast. Exactly 12 days from me camping out on that land. She came there. This was back in January. She came there. We got to talking and whatnot. Episode ended. We're still talking at the end. She said, so what's up with Kingdom Royale? I said, man, I'm talking to these people. I'm doing this. And I told her, man, I'm going to come up with 100,000. She said, well, tell me you got the 100,000. I said, I ain't got $100,000. I said, no, tell me you got the 100,000. I said, oh, by faith. You want me to say by faith? I got 100,000. She said, I said, am I slow? Did I miss something here? I said, what's going on? She said, I'm giving you the 100,000. I said, I just laid on the floor
I
and just
am
started crying.
so
That lady
shook
transferred
by it.
$100,000 into my account the next day. Then she said, transfer 100. I put a video up. It's on probably my Dear Future Wifey page. Put it up there. Then she ended up talking. She said, "Can we go see the land?" I said, "Yeah." We went to go look at the land. It was 1.8 million. She said, "God, this is beautiful." She said, I'm tempted just to write the check for the whole thing. If we, can you give me a couple of acres out of it?" I said, "I don't give a dang. You sure can."
You got 5 acres. What you talking about?
What you talking about? So then she was like, "Cool." She said, "Instead of owner financing it with the guy, just do it with me." And she said, "I ain't finna be hounding you for the money and all that type of stuff. You pay when you get it or whatever." And I was like,
Well, is Terry single?
"Terry is single.
Is she your
Terry
wife?
is rich.
Is
Terry,
she your wife?
I don't know.
I don't know or no. Now wait a minute now.
I don't know.
Now, they not matching though. They don't be matching in the jeans or they got matched out.
All
Now I'm just
right.
saying.
We'll let you match with your denim.
So Terry's episode was called $40 Million Version because Terry she has a #1 course on Teachable. She made like $10 million last year just on her course that she sells, teaching people how to sell stock. So then she ended up saying, "Listen, why don't you just get you go work the deal out. You go work the deal out. Tell them we're going to pay cash for it. And we're going to have a 10-day closing. You go close the deal." Talk the man down to $1.25 million. Cash offer. Got the land. Keys to the land. I can come and go as I want to. 12 days later.
On faith.
On faith.
I'm telling, and here's the thing.
So,
I
I don't even know what to say about none of this because I knew nothing. First of all, I don't know anything about nobody.
These videos.
I think when I saw $40 million Virgin, I was just like, first of all, Virgin, I'm turned off. I'm never watching this. Like, because I don't relate to you. Go ahead, none relate to Jeff. Because I don't remember nothing of that being no Virgin. Okay.
But the thing that I one of the reasons why even doing this, and we talk a lot too. Of course, I knew about the land because I called him, and one day he was literally cutting the grass for the land.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that I want people to really understand, and some people are maybe not going to understand it because it might not necessarily be your faith or whatever the case may be, but I know here we definitely believe in God and we believe, in Christianity. Like we have that relationship, and one of the things that I know it was building even between us was a lot of the things that you're saying is like you think big and I'm the same way, and the thing in the Bible where it clearly states that you have to have faith.
Yeah.
Faith is the only way to please him. And you have to be able to be in those spaces where you believe in what you are doing. You believe in the crazy dream. You hear all the time, if your dream does not scare you, it ain't big enough.
And you can do it on your own and you don't need God.
Correct.
I'm trying to do. I need God.
I need God every step of the way. And
LA did that, and I walked that land back because my son was funny because we was camping out there, and I said, "God gonna give him this land." He's like, "God ain't. What are you talking about?" Armani was like, "God ain't finna do that." Yeah. I said, "I believe it. I believe it." I just in that moment I was sitting there, and I'm telling you, at the top peak of my land, you see Joe Pool Lake. It's beautiful. You can see all 4 cities by each other: Arlington, downtown Dallas, Fort Worth, and Mansfield. And I was sitting there, and I said, "God, I believe I'm sitting in my blessed place. I know this is mine." And I said, "God," and I said, "All right, I'm gonna really put it out there." I recorded a video and I put it on social media where I was praying, saying that this is gonna be my land. Mm-hmm. And I was so scared to post it. I said, "It's gonna look so stupid. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have this," and people are like, "Where your land at? You ain't got it yet. Where's the land at?" And then God said, "Put it out there. Put it out there on faith." And I put Michael Todd's thing, which is it's only crazy till it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I put that hashtag on there, and I said, I'm putting it on there. I was like, oops. I said, "Lord, this look crazy," because I never faked for anything that big in my life. Yeah. I just never have. Yeah. And so when I did that, and 12 days later, that lady came on my podcast. That's major. And then 10 days after that, I had access to it. I'm telling the people when to move the other stuff out, and I come and go as I want to. And then now I just go and I sit and dream, and I'm like, I'm gonna put this over there. I'm gonna have a boys' home here. I'm gonna have some horse stables over there. I'm gonna have this. They're gonna learn agriculture. I got a pond, 2 ponds on the land. Like it's just beautiful. And so I literally my sons were able to see me manifest something
Yes.
that big. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
That's big.
And they're
the
both
biggest
foster
part.
boys. You know, I
Yeah.
adopted both of them, so
Yeah.
they get a chance to see it. And so that's the thing about it. When you do something, when I was 18 years old, when I got a hold of this scripture, it changed my whole perspective about everything. And that scripture says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added."
Yeah.
When things, that's all that is. That land is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a big old mansion is a thing. A
Yeah.
car is a thing. Necklace, clothes, shoes, whatever, just things. And so if you seek ye first the kingdom of God, then all these things shall be added. And so when I looked at that land, I was like, God, you can give me this because this is kingdom work that I'm doing. And God did it.
Oh my God.
So now I'm just on my grind to go get the 1.25 million to pay her back, and then we good.
You guys.
And it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's gonna
I'm
happen.
encouraged. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I am definitely encouraged. I'm not at the point where I am faithing that big because everything about uncomfortable things scare me.
Yeah, scare me
Because
too.
once I get to a point where I'm comfortable, I'm just like, okay, let me just sit here. But I think everything that we've talked about today has been it's just been so encouraging now with me moving into different spaces of music that I feel like I'm qualified for, but not something that I ever saw myself doing. So thank you so much for telling us. Because, man, I'm a little full myself.
Good.
I'm a little full.
What up, creatives? This creative plug of the week goes to Jasmine Henson and her new single, WTF. On digital platforms everywhere, or wherever you get your music. Download WTF by Jasmine Henson right now.
One more try tonight. Me and you worth it before you go. Ooh, babe. The Kreative's way.
So, Laterras, before we get out of here, I gotta ask you special questions. And this is not necessarily a part of the list, but because you are yourself as well as my wife is you're a divorcee, I wanted to know what you felt might be from your heart best advice for divorcees in however you basically want to take that.
My best advice is to get healed from whatever caused the divorce to begin with.
Okay.
Walk in the spirit of forgiveness for yourself. I believe no one gets married to get a divorce. And go ahead and fix those things that if you were the cause of the divorce, fix those things so you don't jump into another marriage and be the same thing for the next person and it end in divorce. Definitely, I'm a proponent for therapy, so get therapy and forgive yourself, and then be able to say, you know what, jump back out there and do it again.
Yep.
Because sometimes you can get gun shy and be like, you know, marriage don't work. No, marriage works. Marriage is the most beautiful thing that you could ever sign up for. The Bible says one can chase away 1,000, but two can set 10,000 demons to flight. So the power of a unified couple is unstoppable. And so do yourself some justice and some service to get linked up with your purpose partner. One of the things I try to encourage people to do, as I encourage myself, is don't get married to a husband, don't get married to a wife, get married to your purpose partner, someone that can come alongside of you and you do purpose work together.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, you'll never walk away from that person.
Agreed. So since we talk about purpose and finding your person, 3 things that you are looking for in your own.
So what I always say, I never tell women what I look for because I was tangled up with this narcissistic woman that did everything that.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so
we want the list.
Yeah.
We don't. We're not
So
gonna
they
talk about
would
her.
do that. So I would say, I want somebody I'm gonna keep it general. I want somebody I can do purpose work together with. I want somebody who love kids.
Okay.
And I want somebody that's a strong woman of God. I'm gonna keep it general like that.
I got you. Got you.
Specifics, because you women be in my DMs. They're like, you know what? Exactly.
You exactly.
I love kids, and I'm willing to move.
Oh, you are? Okay, here's mine.
I'm willing to move and set up on the land.
Move to Dallas and literally move 2 blocks from my studio. I mean, it's got weird out here in these days.
Oh, it's weird.
I mean, you know, when you're the viral king, it definitely happens. What's one thing that always makes you feel creative?
Oh, when I'm in my, I call it in my God space. And my God space is anytime I'm doing something that is making me vibrate on the high level. So by me being a creative, and I do graphic design, so sometimes I may hit that stride while I'm creating a flyer or a graphic. I'm like, oh, I'm in my God space. When I'm on my podcast, that's my safe space. But when I'm having these conversations with people and we're connecting on levels that they rarely connect with people on, you know, I'm like, wow, this is my creative world. When I'm Dear Future Wifey podcast is my highest expression of creativity, because I'm involved with all of it. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's such an ordained space for me because it stretches me outside of my comfort zone. And so I would say that's the place I feel most creative, is on the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
Cool. Well, this is our last question, but it's a fun one. But I really would like to know, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
I would want to fly.
Everybody wants to take flight.
Y'all
have places to go?
I think we do.
Do y'all know birds are up there?
I know they're up
Do you
there.
know birds are nasty?
Yeah, they are nasty, but we're going to fly above the birds.
I mean, y'all want to run into a full live eagle in the air. You know that's where they are.
Oh, yeah, if you say that is a little dangerous.
And do you see how big eagles are? Ain't nobody got time. Y'all want to run into those?
I'm trying to fight them in the sky. I don't know. I think as a kid, I always wanted to fly, and then I always wanted to be invisible. You know?
Okay.
I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to be invisible. I'd be like, can you see me? Yeah, I see you. Okay.
We definitely see you, Pleasant Grove.
Invisible. I'll be invisible. Can you see me? Yes, I see you, Laterras. I'll be like, hey. But I always wanted to be invisible so I could see what people are saying behind my back.
There you go.
Okay, as long as we have a reason, we'll go with it.
And then go walk in the bank and just walk out and there's money floating around in the sky.
I'm gonna do one flip because I just feel like this might be cool. And just one. I wonder if you have a question for us.
What is the one thing that marriage taught you, Bruce, that you didn't know already?
Oh my God. I should have never asked Laterras R. Whitfield. One thing that marriage taught me that I didn't know.
Yeah. Because, you know, you watch your parents married or whatever, but when you experience it for yourself, it's like, oh, I noticed this. This is going to sound really weird and a little immature, but I really did not understand that anxiety was real. And at one point, I didn't know how to deal specifically. I didn't think that I knew how to deal with that. And so marrying my wife and the things that she went through, it taught me how to be able to deal, because and then as strong, I don't like saying that, but as strong and you know what I mean, as strong and as dope and as my wife is, I started to see her very fragile, and I had to learn how to be I had to learn how to take care of that. Yeah. And one, not quote unquote exploit it. Another one, not I had to learn how to carry that. Yeah. And understand her when she was in those moments, because, you know, she's strong. And so it was, oh no, she can handle it. Oh, she's good at it. But then it's like, no. I needed to carry that. So that's one of the things that it taught me, was how to be able to deal with fragileness and her fragileness and her vulnerability, even when she didn't necessarily want to be. What about you? What did marriage this time around teach you?
This time around, marriage taught me that when I am in a place where I am being loved right, I am very, very needy. And I've never ever been described as needy before in my life. But now it's one of those things where we are definitely the couple that people are annoyed by. And I mean, y'all just gonna have to deal with it because I don't care, okay? But it's a thing where, like, if Bruce is in my vicinity, I need him to come and touch me at some point. It doesn't matter whether it's just, he's real good about, in the mornings if we have to do something and I get up out of the bed and he's walking around to go to the bathroom, he always rubs my back or like rubs the side of me, just because I just have to have him touch me. I don't know what, but I'm just very needy now, but not needy in a negative way. And I never understood that it is a thing that men need to be desired for more than just their body. Like, men need to feel like they can handle the things. And so there's no reason for me. I remember Tim Ross preached a message one time, and he said, if you meet a woman that is strong, it is not because she wants to be. It's because she's always had to be. And so now I'm in a marriage where I don't have to be. So when I tell you, I be throwing that mess off, I'm weak. I can't pick up nothing. I'm sorry. I can't bring the groceries in. I can't. Like, I really can't. When I'm laying in the bed, babe, can you bring me a bottle of water? I can't get up. I can't. I've been strong all my life, and now is the time for me to sit back and chill. It's soft life season.
And that's totally okay. Absolutely. Well, bro, thank you for being here. Thank you for being lit and just transparent and just being a good friend and you know, coming and hanging with us. Super dope. You know, you still answer the phone. You know, I'm 50 million throughs. You know, thank you. We appreciate that.
I'm always on
I wish you would ever not answer this phone. I don't care who you get talking to. I wish you would. Put me up on the record the conversation and upload me on Instagram.
There you go. It go viral again.
Go viral, right? And we went viral again.
Right. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on the Kreative's Way. Laterras, let people know where they can find you on social media.
Laterras R Whitfield on Instagram and on YouTube. Just search Dear Future Wifey.
Dear Future Wifey.
The podcast with all the views.
With all of the views. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We love y'all. Keep it locked till next time.